The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of fond memories. So get ready, nerds, because we're talking the Salty Nerd Podcast's best moments of 2022. Welcome, everyone, for another episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast, where we walk down memory lane and talk about the best moments and our favorite moments of the year of creating this podcast and some of the things that we just can't believe we got to do. I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds. MattVader's here. What's up?
Hi.
How you doing, man?
I'm here, sort of. Got my hat on. I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm supposed to say right now. I'm really taking.
Well, we're just chilling, dude.
I know.
We're just gonna look back and be like, "Remember doing that?"
This is a patron show, right?
No, it's public.
It's public.
Oh man, sorry. I'll dial it in a little bit.
Don't dial it in.
No, it's all good. Here we are.
Yeah,
It's another year.
After another year. How many years has it been? 3?
Has it only been 3?
2019.
Yeah,
Wow. It feels like it's been like 5 or 6.
it does feel like that.
It's crazy. We put a lot of content out. Holy shit.
We put out an insane amount of content. Jude is also here.
Hi.
Looking very festive. What's up?
Oh, thank you.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Looking forward to this?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to rehashing some things that happened this year.
Okay. All right. This is not a therapy session, though.
Probably should be.
Did it sound like that? Like
It did. Rehashing. We're going to rehash the past year.
I need to talk about this because you fucking traumatized me. No, I just thought it would be fun to talk about
Reminisce.
reminisce about some things that happened this year. Like this has been such a cool year, and we've done some big things.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. MattVader, the most frustrated producer in the world. What's up, dude?
It is a fact.
So basically, the idea here is we each have top 5 moments. Some probably have more than that. But at the end of the episode, we're going to reveal the toppest moment of the year.
Yeah.
And a very special announcement for the Salty Nerd Podcast. So stay tuned for that.
Yes,
We each
absolutely.
have 5.
And then we have one big one.
Collectively, we have one.
I kind of feel like we have probably 5 or 6 that is on everybody's list.
Do you?
Probably.
Maybe.
All
A lot of mine are getting to talk to people.
Yeah, man.
Like interviews
Mine
and shit.
too.
Yeah.
Mine too.
All right, so let me get this started. I'll set the pace right now. There's one moment that really stood out to me this year. And it wasn't that long ago. I think it happened during the summer, like June or July or something like that. But we reviewed movies about computers and video games and stuff like that. And there was a movie with Matthew Broderick, and it was called Wargames. And there was a moment in that movie, because I had never seen it before. There was a moment in that movie that literally blew my mind, and it changed how I butter corn forever. There's the 80s dad, dude. He's just sitting at the table. His son's freaking out. His wife is talking, and he's just sitting there buttering his corn with a piece of bread. He put the butter on the bread.
Yeah, he's just scooping butter on the slice
and then
of bread.
he hot dogged the corn on the cob inside of the bread and buttered his corn. And I was like, how did I not know this?
Oh my God.
That was incredible.
How did you not know that?
Do you do that?
Fuck yeah.
Well,
I
you're old.
literally did not remember that scene until you just described it.
I was blown away.
Listen,
I'm like,
man.
this is amazing. This is the superior way to have corn.
Yeah,
Taking a piece of corn on a knife and running it over the top.
I think I need to be on a podcast
No,
with two girls.
I'm a savage. Like how I used to butter my corn is you just have the stick of butter and then you just put the corn on it.
That's a good way.
That's the way I grew up doing
That's actually
it.
a fun way to do it.
Yeah.
Because you mess up the...
You fuck up the whole butter.
Listen,
Yeah.
my OCD ass wife will not let me do that. Because it messes up the entire...
Yeah, it does.
But it's funny because Vader wasn't there for that recording. That was Tom.
Yeah.
But collectively, when we started talking about that one scene, it was like light bulbs went off on each of our heads. It's like, why haven't we been doing this all our lives?
Yeah, I'm glad I would have like
Busted our balls for it.
been all over your guys' ass if I had done
I
that.
feel like corn on the cob is too much work. I don't need it.
It is well worth it.
It's good, so good though. God,
Mexican
a little
corn on the
salt.
cob with-
Yes,
with-
with the
yeah.
seasonings.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah, dude.
Whew. Yeah, dude.
Superior. Anyway, that was one of my moments, and it's not like a top 5 like coolest thing. It just was one of those things that I thought was really funny. I remember it very fondly, looking back and being like, "Man, remember that time we talked about the corn on the cob?"
Yeah, but then he was like, "This corn is raw."
Yeah,
And
that's
the
right.
wife, and the wife was like, "It's better for you that
Yes,
way."
that's right. It was like a whole raw diet thing, and he's like, "What the fuck is that? You
He spent all that time buttering it up.
That's right.
And
That's
he couldn't
right.
eat it because it was raw.
Oh, what a great moment. All right, B. What's your 5th best moment of the year?
I don't know. 5? We're at 5. Just starting this thing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just starting.
So okay, I should probably,
Limber
I
up.
should probably get to the mic.
Yeah, get
first.
on here. Come on,
dude.
be a
Close-
professional.
close to the mic. Talking to the microphone, you idiot. But yeah.
You only been doing it for 3 years.
Hello. Yeah.
Jude's intro is my new favorite thing.
Hello.
Jerry, hello.
I have a supercut of all my hellos.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
It's on my TikTok.
Is it really? Oh, I need to check that
Since
out.
we're going number 5, I'm going to go with dad joke chicken.
Okay.
Oh, good one.
All right. Yeah.
None of us wanted to do that.
No, Kay just comes up with these stupid ass ideas. He goes, hey man, we want you to do this thing, because it's probably pretty funny, and you just gotta go along with it and do it. It's like, okay, fuck, all right. But by the time we're done,
We died laughing.
we're on the ground, just sweat coming off my face. It was really funny, and I had a great time doing it.
You destroyed me. You have a direct line to my funny bone.
I always destroy.
Like, I cannot look at you and not laugh when you say weird shit. And I'm just like, God, I lose so badly.
I used to be addicted to soap. I used to be addicted to soap. I'm clean now. You're laughing. Shit.
At those contests.
It's like all I got to do is say I'm going to go jerk off, and you lose your shit.
See?
So you just did it. Get some Jergens lotion.
Wait, what was the there was another moment when you had a sore throat and you kept spraying your throat with that shit.
The Cetaphil.
Yeah. Not a sponsor. And you're just like, ah.
That's good stuff. I still got that bottle at home. Yeah.
But I think the best dad joke chicken moment where Vader stared you down and he was like, I used to be addicted to soap, but I'm clean now.
And I just lost it. I couldn't look at you, dude.
Like you were so set to like not break, and you just broke instantly.
I can't not laugh
It's
when
like
you say
I
shit.
crush you at that.
You do.
It's not
you
even
do
fun.
every time.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at it too because I can't read jokes.
I can't wait to do it again.
Oh man, ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, Jude, what's yours?
Okay, so this is something that happened this year, kind of recently, that I think only the people that watched our House of the Dragon live streams will understand, but it was Charles's white sweater.
Oh my God.
man.
Holy shit.
Yeah, people went nuts in the chat for that.
I know.
Yeah, he had like this old like vintage
It was
threaded
like
sweater.
like a fisherman's
Like a
sweater.
fisherman's sweater.
Holy shit.
But he's built like Charles is a big dude.
Yeah.
And he filled that sweater
He
out.
looked good.
And I was like, God damn, dude. Like
Like before we started recording, I was like, Charles, nice sweater.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we started recording,
The
the
chat-
entire chat was like,
Sweater,
"That's sweater.
and he was in Iceland when that happened, right? Yeah.
That was the best part.
Yeah.
He's over in Iceland. It was like, what are you doing in Iceland, man?
My God.
Damn good sweater.
Everything we've had, like podcast wise, I'm like, can we invite Charles?
Are you gonna make him wear his sweater?
You might have
I
to.
might ask
To the
him.
dinner?
Yeah.
The other thing that happened with our Dragons videos was the obsession with Vader's feet.
Yeah.
As soon as we found out that Harry Strong was like had a foot fetish, like people were like, "Let's see Vader's feet now."
No, because
Like F for feet in the chat.
Vader put his socked toes up into the screen, just like a little fucking tease. And then all of a sudden, out of the corner of the entire watch list's eyes, they were like, let me see more of those.
Let me see more of those feet. It was so weird. The reaction was just weird. And people were like, I think it was JT. He was like, put F for feet in the chat. It was like F, 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 F.
Sir,
Nobody wants to see my feet.
Bunch of
they
fucking
all want to see your feet.
Well, they might see him someday.
$100 Patreon tier.
Feetfinder.com.
Not a sponsor.
Gotta go get a pedicure.
yeah, pedicure.
Pedicure.
All right, Kadish, top 5 or 5th best moment.
All right. So this one didn't actually happen on the podcast, but it was amongst the podcasters, and it sticks out as a seminal moment in my mind. It's burned into my brain. I can't ever unsee it. And it was when we went to go see Top Gun Maverick in the theater, and Vader started crying uncontrollably. And it like I remember walking up to him, and he's sitting there, he's like blubbering. He's like, I don't know what's happening to me. He looked so confused.
I was like, I don't know what's going on.
We had to leave, and he was like, I'll be out there in a minute. We had to leave him alone.
It's like, I gotta compose myself.
It was literally one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, like that stands out to me this year as being like one of the big moments. I was like Vader
Look,
crying.
There's 2 times it's appropriate to cry in a movie if you're a man. Top Gun Maverick. Okay. And when Spock dies in Wrath of Khan. That's it. Okay. That's the only 2 times.
I am
it's okay.
now and have always been
Your friend.
Stop it. You're making me well up right now.
You big softy.
I am.
Oh man. All right. So one of the other things that I've really become pretty proud of our podcast for doing is having some really freaking cool people join us and talk to us. And this goes like a blanket statement for everybody that we've had on. It's been so cool to talk to people. But one thing in particular that really stood out to me, and it has to do with David Hewlett. We have to give him a huge shout out because he made this happen. But having Vincenzo to talk about Cube, and that led to us getting a screener for Graveyard Rats from Netflix early for the Guillermo del Toro.
Feels so cool.
Yeah, we were like, that was our first ever screener. So like the relationship that we had with David Hewlett that led into meeting Vincenzo, which then led into Graveyard Rats. And then also he has a lot to do with the new show Peripheral on Amazon, which I am
so good.
loving. That show's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to have him back on. Yeah. That was one of the highlights for me. That Cube
feel
interview.
Like I have to watch every episode twice.
Yeah. It's super deep, but it's not like confusing deep. It's just like, oh, that's freaking cool. Yeah. It's a great show. But like that interview that we had with Cube, and I know Kadish had a bitch of a time editing it because we had like 4 different people,
took like 6 months,
4 different audios to kind of mix together to make sure nobody was talking over each other. And I know you worked super hard on that because I could tell.
It took months.
I know. Yeah, I know. I've done a few interviews myself, but it's only been with one person. I know how challenging it is just for matching the audio with one person. Having to do 4 was incredible. But yeah, Vincenzo, like getting to meet him and knowing the projects that he's working on, I cannot wait to have him back on. It's super cool.
Yeah, that was actually one of the big highlights for me too, because like, before I went to film school, like Cube was like a big movie for me because, it was an independent movie and like it was super successful and a lot of film nerds like really liked it. And to get to talk to the people behind it, like I never thought like I'd be like chatting with like the guys behind it, like Andre Bajelic, who was the writer, Vincenzo Natali, who was the director, and David Hewlett, who was the main actor. Like all 3 of them came on our show and talked about this movie that I literally watched like a billion times, studying it, like getting ready to go to film school. Like it was a real mind-blowing moment.
Yeah.
And it's definitely one of the highlights of the year for me.
Yeah.
Kadish is always so stoic whenever we do anything. He's just like, I set this up and now we're doing it and here's us doing it. And then like behind the scenes, he's like, that was so fucking cool.
Meanwhile, we're all having our emotions on our sleeves like, oh my God, guys.
Yeah.
Kadish is always like, I've just got the camera work to do. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
But no, I was freaking out. Like I thought it was super cool. I didn't really grow up watching Cube, but I always knew it was always been on my radar. And like when we got to talk with those guys and again, like learning how much work Vincenzo's been doing that I'm like really loving. I'm like, oh dude, I cannot wait to have him back on to talk about the Peripheral because it's such a freaking cool show.
Yeah.
What about you, V?
I'm kind of in that same vein of that you're in here. Our relationships that we've gained over the last year or so with some really cool people in the entertainment industry have just kind of freaked me out and blown me away a little bit. But the whole thing with Hewlett and the fact that we got to interview Joe Flanigan just was beyond weird for me, and in the best way. I love Stargate Atlantis. It's one of my favorite sci-fi fantasy nerd shows out there, and the fact that we've gotten 2 of the main stars of that show as friends of the show now is wild. It's really cool. We're still fishing for Jason. That's got
we'll get there.
Happen.
I would say that he is a friend to the show. He just is not aware of it.
He just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah.
But having Joe on the show and David too, it's just been phenomenal. I've got my list has like 4 different things on it that are all related to us getting to talk to cool people. And the Wyrmwood guys. What else do I got here? Oh, and the Norsemen, talking to Corey and John Ivor.
Yep.
I'm just going to kind of lump those all into one thing. It's been, I say that I hate doing interviews because it freaks me out. And you know, I know Kadish and you guys do most of the talking during those things. And it's because I just literally for real don't feel like I'm worthy of being in the conversation.
But you always ask the best questions though, because you come out of left field with some freaking oddball question, and we're like,
and that's just how I roll.
That's genius.
Yeah,
and it's funny because when we first started doing the podcast, none of us ever thought that we'd be having like actual celebrities and filmmakers on the show to talk to us.
I mean, when we're watching new stuff, not old stuff that we've watched from 20 years ago, but when we're watching new shows that are coming out on Netflix or Amazon or whatever with people that we know on a personal level, it is beyond weird to me. It is just so strange. But
I'm just glad they're good.
But it's the coolest feeling ever.
Yeah,
it's like
it is.
when I can call my brother up and go, "Hey man, did you watch Cabinet of Curiosities?" He's like, "No." It's like, "Well, you need to watch it. My friend's on it." Okay, you know what I'm saying?
He's like, "It's not out yet." Well, I got to watch it.
You know, it's just a weird thing, you know. And I'm looking forward to us as a podcast, as a show, growing and making new connections and getting more legitimate when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's just been super fun.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
I'm gonna put all the show and interviews all in one lump.
Okay.
You know? And I'm not, these are in no order for me. So it's just, I'm just gonna put them all there.
All right,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
Jude.
Do you make your brother listen to my audiobooks because I'm your friend too? Can you?
I can. He probably would.
Go ahead, Jude.
So my we're on 4, right? Yeah,
sure.
4. My number 4 favorite SNP moment this year is something that I shared with Alex. Introducing you to Buffy was one of my like favorite. I don't know if proud is the right word, but just having this thing that is my favorite thing. And like sharing it with you and having you not hate it was, it was really important to me, and it made me feel good, and like it kind of validated my love for this series, and I loved sharing that with you. I loved getting your first view of it and your takes on it, and it was really important to me.
Awesome. I'm glad I could do that. I my expectations for Buffy the Vampire were real low.
Yeah,
I had no idea. I was like, oh God, it's gonna be some CW freaking bullshit teenage girl thing. Ended up having a ton of fun with it. And I think a part of that was your enthusiasm for it kind of bled over to me. And then we watched it together in my office.
Yeah.
Like one night, it was cold as hell like that. We were in our office.
I
we were
brought
drinking
snacks.
Yeah, we had snacks, we had beer and popcorn, and we were watching the show on the TV in there in Discord for the watch party.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
I remember I was like, why is Jude in Alex's office? Does Kadish know about this?
He was happy to be rid of me for a night. We worked together and lived together. He was like, why don't you go out?
Yeah,
I get it.
That's great.
Go hang out with Alex.
Speaking of Kadish, what's your next on the list there, bud?
All right. So I'm going to lump 2 things in together, but they're both kind of like very similar. So the first one is that we went to our first like podcast meetup where a bunch of local podcasters got together for the podcast movement meetup out here at a barbecue restaurant. And I had to drag these guys kicking and screaming to it to network and actually interact with other humans, which was kind of funny. But it also set the stage for when the Nerdrotic crew came out here for, the Star Trek convention. And we had a pre-Nerdrotic meetup where we basically told everyone, hey, if you're a fan of our show, come meet us at Grouchy John's. And JJ over at Grouchy John's was very generous. Like he comped all the drinks that night. Cool. And basically we had, Shane from the Popcast guys, he drove out for it. And
JT came out.
JT
and Caleb.
Caleb, our intern, like a bunch of people basically took time out of their days and fans and to come to Grouchy John's and join the very first ever Salty Nerd meetup. Yeah. In fact, Danny even sold one of his Salty Nerd artworks to JT.
I signed my first autograph. That was weird.
Oh my God. You had the hardest time with that.
I was so weird. He's like, hey, can you sign this for me? I'm going to take it home and hang it on my wall. And I'm like,
and Alex's wife met Charles for the first time. Was very enamored with him, even without the white sweater.
I mean, Charles is a good-looking man.
He's like 7 feet tall. My wife is like 5'4".
Yeah, and he knows literally everything.
Yeah,
about
and
Game
they were
of Thrones.
talking, and I remember and like I could barely see my wife because Charles was so big, and I was like, "Is she okay over there?" And I walked over, I'm like, and
She was like this.
Charles went to go get a drink, and I'm like, "Hey, babe, I just want to make sure you're not feeling like overcrowded by this guy."
She was like, "Get the fuck away from me."
Yeah, I'm like, "Do you want me to like distract him or something?" She's like, "No, I'm having a great time. This is awesome." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah,
Great.
I'm already looking forward to doing that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as it gets a little bigger, it grows a little bit, I'm happy, And I already know that there's more people we're going to invite, people that collaborate with us and come with us on our live streams and stuff. It should be fun.
Yeah.
I want to outgrow Grouchy John's at some point, So
I think it's a great place to be, though. Shout out to JJ and Grouchy Johns.
they're great.
It's awesome place.
The show started there.
Yep.
So and
We're eternally connected.
yeah,
Not internally.
100%. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but it was funny seeing you guys at the podcast movement meetup, interacting with other people, being like,
Yeah.
I was like, go frolic and network.
I wish
I'm like, I don't know how to network with people.
I wish podcast movement hadn't
Stuck their foot in their mouth. Yeah. Yeah. That would have been great if they didn't do that.
The aftermath of that is my number 3.
Is it? Okay, go ahead. Take it away. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a perfect segue. So go ahead, Jude.
Fuck you, Meryl Streep.
Fuck you, Meryl Streep. So we were all fairly buzzed leaving the podcast network. Fairly buzzed.
You guys were tanked.
Okay, the meetup was at a brewery.
Yeah. And Jude and I had been drinking, and we got in the back of the car, and I think we were all
Candice
like,
was driving, all 4 of us.
Yeah, Candice was driving, and we were all like, we need to go get something to eat. And the
That was the adventure, wasn't it?
like Jude and I were so drunk that we were doing New Jersey accents in the back seat. And we were,
I just want a fucking taco or something. Jesus Christ. How fucking hot is it? We're on Las Vegas Boulevard. Everything's closed.
it's a 24-hour freaking goddamn city. Like, why can't I get a burger around
Apparently,
here?
it's only
it was
24 hours if you're inside a casino.
Then it was exceedingly difficult. Go
Fuck
ahead.
you, Tony.
Fuck you, Tony.
Fuck you, Uncle Tony. Yeah, that's all I could get out.
Every time Vader said anything, Alex and I would scream, "Fuck you, Uncle
Tony."
Tony.
I was like,
Like, shut up.
Tony. Okay.
And behind you is this is when we created the
I don't even know how Meryl Streep.
Our next feature
It's going to be the
film.
Saltiner feature film. Is
We
Fuck
just
You, Meryl
decided
Streep.
it's called "Fuck You, Meryl
Yeah,
Streep."
we've already got these movies in production. And
Well,
we don't even have scripts yet.
we were talking about how Meryl Streep was like the most award-winning actress ever.
Oh, and I was like, oh, she's overrated.
She's a fucking hack.
She didn't deserve all those Oscars.
And the best part, like, we wrote this movie, I guess. I have it in my head. I know exactly how it's going to go. I even have some of the dialogue down.
How many kids do we have?
I don't know, but we're married. Your name is Nikki Nicholson. I'm Nick Nicholson. It's Nikki and Nick. And we just hate each other. We hate our guts. We went to a wedding. It's your cousin's wedding.
Yeah.
And they only served vegan hors d'oeuvres. And we were so pissed because we were like... We're like, where the fuck is the food? How do you invite somebody to a wedding with no food? And it's just like,
Vegan pasta? Go fuck yourself.
So our hunt for a restaurant.
Go over to the gluten-free table.
So we're hunting for a restaurant because we're so freaking hungry.
Literally in real life, we had gone from like restaurant to restaurant, trying to
couldn't
find this place where we could go
the-
get like some pizza or
The
something.
best part about the whole thing is we're driving down the strip. Oh shit, there's an IHOP. We go in, right? So we go into the IHOP. We all get out of our car, and it's
literally
chained,
Literally
chained up.
And we're still standing there at the front door like, are they closed?
Why is the door
A
chained?
fucking chain that looks like it could hold a dragon down wrapped around the front door. We're like, why are they closed?
Health department.
Is there anybody in there?
Hello.
We're like knocking on the windows.
Fucking
I
pancakes.
want some pancakes.
Yeah, we should point out that this was like right after the lockdowns were lifted.
Yeah.
So a lot of these restaurants were still like under
Understaffed.
curfew.
And it was like right at 10 p.m.,
Oh,
which
God.
I think is the cutoff for a lot of places post quarantine.
I guess.
They were like, yeah, we'll just close everything at 10. But like those of us who live here in Las Vegas were like, no, it's 10 o'clock. You should still be open.
Yeah. That was a great moment.
was
Very
fun.
good. My number 3, it's more of a personal thing for me, but it has its roots in the podcast. So we interviewed a bunch of people from the Norsemen TV show. And we talked to Corey Conradi, which was really cool. But what led into that was somebody who had worked on the production of the show. His name was Jamie. He's become a fan of the podcast and a good friend of ours. He was like, hey, let me get you in touch with somebody named Charlie Allen. And I was like, who's Charlie Allen? He's like, he's the stunt coordinator for all these like battle scenes from like Gladiator and a lot of Ridley Scott movies, like Russell Crowe's Robin Hood and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's super cool. I'd love to talk to him. So I got to interview him. He was a super awesome guy. Really, really nice. And over the course of the last year, I've actually become pretty good friends with him. I've got his cell phone number. We talk every once in a while. Really? We chat. I know his wife. Super nice people. And they invited me out to Scotland. So for my 12-year anniversary with my wife, we're planning a trip. They're like, come out here. We have a place where you can stay. Oh my God. Like he's like, my buddy of mine owns this hotel. We'll hook you up. We'll get you in the hotel. You guys we'll give you a VIP tour of Scotland. You'll come down to Duncurin, which is one of his, it's a medieval city that he built himself with his team. And they do a lot of movies, and they're doing Outlander season, whatever.
Fuck you.
They're filming Outlander there right now. So they're like, come out, you can see the set of Outlander and all this other shit. So super excited. Really happy to get to know him. And shout out to Jamie, because he's the one who made it all happen. He has his own business that he's starting up called Inner Warrior Mentoring. Wow. So he's like a big time. He works out all the time, eats healthy, and he's mentoring young adults, young men into becoming healthy and getting fit and all that stuff. So I wanted to give him a proper shout out to him and the whole crew over there at Combat International. Awesome people. Cannot wait to go to Scotland. That's one of my top moments for sure.
I'm so jealous.
I know you are. Who's next? V?
I don't know. We're way out of order.
Yeah, we're out of order, but that's okay. Go
Are we
ahead.
on 3 now?
Yeah.
I didn't do a 4, but that's okay. You went straight to Jude.
No, that was 3.
3.
Fuck you, Meryl Streep was 3.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
No, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm just, that's how we roll, right? We're disjointed. One of my favorite things that we did this year was we watched this crazy little movie from India called RRR.
Oh, wow.
And just, I wish all of our videos did what this video did. But it was incredible watching this thing explode on our channel. And it was just...
You pushed for that to happen, too.
I did, because it needed to happen. And watching... We gained a ton of new subs from that. And we got probably 1,000 or more comments on that. And, I think it was
It's like 60,000 views or whatever. It's one of our top videos.
Wow. Just the whole RRR madness video that we did this year was just super fun, and it stands out, and I think it was an important thing that happened this year, and I can't talk. It just legitimized what we do to me a little bit,
cool,
because it did show that we have the ability to actually make videos that blow up and can go a little bit viral. So
I learned an important lesson.
What's that?
It's beam.
It's beam,
not Bahim.
Not Bahim. That's right.
Yeah.
They will call your ass out.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, they will.
I like it. I like passionate fans.
I do too. I don't blame them. I'm not mad at them at all. I'm like, okay, sorry. Yeah.
So yeah.
Lesson learned.
RRR. I'm glad we watched it.
Cool.
It was fun.
I'm glad you pushed for it, because you were really adamant. You were like, guys, we have to watch this freaking movie because it's all over the place.
Yep.
We have to catch this wave. And we did. So good job, man.
Thanks.
Right on. Kadish, number 3.
All right. So number 3 for me this year was redecorating the studio.
Oh, yeah.
So basically I had to plan it out. I had to run internet all the way down here so we could do live streaming. Jude decorated with all of our posters, but the big thing was deciding to paint the whole living room black. For those of you who don't know, we do this out of our spare dining room in our house.
Because who needs a dining room anymore?
Well,
we don't have people over.
Well, when we decided to go all in on the podcast and we actually bought like all this equipment, Alex didn't have the room at his place to actually like house it. And we just never used this room. So we were like, oh, we'll just keep it here. And for the longest time, we just had like our normal walls, and we had like 2 sound blankets to try to mute the echo in this like huge room with the gigantic ceilings. But when we decided to paint the room, it was like a huge adventure. Like we had to like rent like this massive like freaking ladder, and like we had to go all the way up.
And then we needed a truck to take the ladder to our house because we didn't have a truck big enough.
Yeah, and like everyone who was like quoting us, stuff to paint this huge room that was like $300, $500, and Jude and I were like, oh, we'll just do it ourselves, and it was the worst mistake we could have possibly made.
We did it.
Yeah, we did it.
If you don't look in that corner.
There's still the one spot up there.
Yeah, there's a place in the room. So like our ceiling's slanted and it goes, from first story up to the second story.
Yeah. So it goes from like 8 feet to like 15 feet in one corner.
So basically there's one part in this studio where our normal ladder was too short for us to reach, and our big ladder was too big for us to reach because it just wouldn't go down far enough. So like there's this little place here that drives my OCD crazy where we couldn't get up to like the where the roof meets the wall and paint that. So like but overall like you can't tell because it's not on camera.
And then there's a spot over there in that corner where Kadish decided we needed a sprayer and he was testing it out and it went so it's kind of in that area of the ceiling
but we bought like a lot of lights and Jude did all the posters, and then I decided to put something behind Alex, and Jude gave me so much crap about that.
I did.
Oh, I think it was great.
She didn't think it would look good.
I was mean about it. I apologize now.
Because before I just had like our logo behind me.
Yeah.
And it looks very
stupid fake bricks.
Yeah. Oh, that was a long time ago. We don't talk about that anymore. But yeah, no, this is cool. I like it.
Yeah,
we got Bad Motherfucker right there. We got Beer Zombie. Shout out to those guys, local Vegas brewery.
Got a bunch of booze behind
you. A lot of booze
behind
me, which is why we just kind of like grab it and drink it. You'll see the bottles shrink.
We were going to sell those squares to begin with, but I don't think
they probably won't see the bottles drink after this episode.
But the funny thing is that like the studio has been in a constant state of evolution since we started doing the podcast out of here. And when it was audio only, it didn't matter. But once we started doing video on YouTube, like if you go back to our early YouTube videos, like they look so different from what they do.
Super
like
different, especially behind V, because he had no posters and just like a brown wall and the staircase.
Yeah, they annoyed me every week. Yeah. It's like, and you guys look like cool backgrounds. I don't got shit. You got a stairway
to heaven. No stairway. Denied.
Short little 3-step step stool thing. Yeah, no.
All right. Cool. My next moment it's a 2-part thing, but is the 2 months that we did for our members only thing for Buck Rogers 25th Century and original Star Trek. Those 2 shows, I think we did them back to back, but those were the best 2 months of the year for me as far as members content goes. We had so much fun. The trivia for the Star Trek thing was really cool. We had a lot of people show up for that. And I never really had a chance to watch these old shows and having time to watch them and then talk about them with you guys and have like that community of our Discord people come in there and talk about them with us was just so much fun. I had a blast.
I think the Buck Rogers month was like one of the highlights of the year for me because it was just so much fun talking about that show.
Yeah, it was. I had never had it cross my radar before. I think was it Matt's? Was it your choice?
I think it was Vader's pick, wasn't it? Yeah.
Buck Rogers was mine.
Yeah, when you picked that, I was like, Buck Rogers, what the hell? And then we watched it. And I was like, this is amazing.
Trust me, so sexy.
Yeah. You have a lot of good picks this year. We got Wyrmwood, you got RRR, you got Buck Rogers. You're doing really good, man.
I try.
You're doing really good. Vader's been our MVP this year.
Yeah, I think so too.
He's made a lot of good picks.
Best content picks.
Oh, and then when like we don't listen to him like immediately.
Oh, he gets pissed.
Tantrum that he has.
Well,
oh my god!
You guys.
Yeah.
They don't listen. They just seem to listen to me.
I love it. All right, number 2 for Vader. Go ahead.
Oh man, I was gonna go kind of down that same vein, but I'm gonna go with. I like the stuff when we interact with people. Mm-hmm. So my last 2 picks are going to be real similar, but I wanted to highlight our House of the Dragon Monday live streams that we did. That was a huge pain in my ass.
Yeah,
huge pain in my ass. But it was totally worth doing. It was super fun. We got to know Charles really well, and it was such a good show that it made it easier to do. Just disrupting my Mondays like that. That was that's a day that I usually set aside for not working.
You guys were all like, what time do you want to do this? I'm like, 9 a.m. You're like, what the hell?
So it's like this thing comes out on Sunday night. I get home from work at midnight on Sunday, which means I have to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning and watch this show and then wake my ass up and get up in the morning and do our live stream. But you know what? It was completely worth it. It was fun. And our people got to come in and watch us do a live stream together, which we need to do more of. Mm-hmm. I like doing the live stream stuff. I think it's good for the show. But it's just we have all kinds of different outlets that we do. But just us growing as a show and us doing a show that was actually really good to talk about for a change, and Charles and his awesome white sweater was just incredible. I had a really good time with that show, and I can't wait to do it again.
The funniest part about that show is there was a time where Jude and I had to go to a wedding, and so we were on the road, and you guys were doing it without us, and you veered off into just talking about The Crown for like a good 20 minutes instead of the actual show. And you guys were like, oh, I bet Kadish is out there listening to that, just seething. He's like, get back on topic, get back on. And I'm sitting there driving like white knuckles. I'm like, get back on topic.
We know you, man.
Forever producing.
We know how you roll.
Wrap it up, assholes. All right, Jude, number 2 moment for you.
Number 2 is Ayla.
Oh, the quest for fire.
No. Clan of the Cave Bear.
Bear.
Caveman week.
Yes.
Was really funny.
Another Vader pick.
I love Caveman.
Yeah, that was great. Ayla.
What's funny, not to change the subject, but watching Kadish do that completely out of context on one of our Saturday streams, he's all Ayla. And we're all like going.
No, I didn't say that. I said Adar.
And
For
people are
Rings
like,
of Power.
Yeah. It was the Rings of Power thing, which was another whole thing. But watching him go Adar, and people going, "What the fuck is he doing?" it was really funny. And I cringed every time. I'm like, "Oh, nobody's gonna get that." Man. But yeah,
Clan of the Cave Bar. Clan of the Cave. Oh my god.
Clan of the Cave Bear.
Thank you. I'm not drinking.
Ayla's so ugly.
Oh my god. Those movies were hilarious. One of our best performing videos that we've done was for that week, but it was Quest for Fire.
Quest for Fire.
I think we clipped out a scene where I inserted the subtitles because Kadish was making up dialogue for the grunts.
It was so good.
And Judah's like, that's not what they said. And we're all like, no, that's totally what they said. And because you were arguing about it, when I was editing that episode, I took the time to put our own subtitles. So everything Kadish said was being said. I put in subtitles and he's like, no, I'm just wafting my pussy towards you. I don't want you to fuck me. And Ron Perlman's like, no, bitch, I'm going to fuck you.
Let me rub this dirt on your dick. Make you feel better.
Yeah, the mud on the dick.
The mud on the dick, the biting of the dick, the pussy wafting. That whole movie is just freaking ridiculous.
Ray Don Chong.
Watch our Caveman episode.
God,
one
hilarious.
of the better ones. That's
One
sure.
of the better ones. All right, Kadish, go ahead, number 2 spot.
All right, so number 2 for me, I'm replacing this one because I think Vader's number 1 is going to be what I had in my number 2, but if not, I'll just throw it in there after you do yours. A big highlight of this year for me was that MattVader 74 went and got a new house. And to celebrate, he invited us over for a barbecue, and him and his lovely wife cooked a fantastic meal.
This is your number 2.
This is my number 2 because because it was fun to get to go over to your new place and hang out with everyone in the pod, and like we all brought our kids and stuff like that, and the food was excellent, and I love hanging out with you guys, and it was at your home, which like we've never gotten to go to before. Yep. So it was a real bonding experience, I think, and it was fun, and I hope that you host more barbecues.
Oh well, I'm planning another one.
Awesome,
probably this spring.
Awesome.
I mean, if not sooner, but most definitely we'll be doing it this spring.
If my house wasn't packed with kids, I would invite you guys over more often.
Bring them over my house. Yeah.
No, it was a cool moment. It was one of our first times we ever
I had food for days.
Yeah,
with ribs and
like
hot dogs. I made enough people. We didn't make enough food for like 20 people, at least two.
Yeah, and you had Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on a loop to entertain Alex.
Yes, that's right. I remember.
Yeah, I think I'm going to invite a few more people this year too. Maybe make it a little bigger.
Right on.
See if our California boys want to come over, and maybe Charles.
Okay.
Some other people.
Sure. Let's do it.
Tom.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So my number 1 favorite moment for this year. And if you were to tell me last year that I was going to get to do this, I would have told you were absolutely crazy. It is playing Marry, Fuck, Kill with Adam Baldwin.
Oh, God.
For real.
God, yeah.
So we got a chance to talk with Adam Baldwin. He's a super nice guy. And we had him on the podcast via phone. And I was like, I wanted to do something different because he's a professional actor. He's done 1.5 million interviews. I'm like, there's got to be something we can do to kind of stand out, because we normally do that when we interview people. They're within the first 10 minutes, you can tell they're like, oh, this is not
these are just dudes.
This is different. Yeah, this is different. This is not like my normal.
Yeah, we were just like getting settled into our like microphones, and he was like, "Oh my god, you guys are such nerds."
Yeah,
it's like we don't do that junket bullshit.
Yeah, no, we really don't. We ask off the wall questions, and we're just real with them. And I think they can tell, because within, like I said, within a couple minutes, most of the people we interview is like, they relax a little bit, and then they start swearing and they start shooting the shit.
Yeah.
And so, like, you could tell when they're off like the whole actor interview thing. But at the end of that interview with Adam Baldwin, I was like, all right, marry, fuck, kill. I think Jude helped me out too. She's like, marry, fuck, kill. Was it RDJ?
And you made it really gay.
Tom Cruise and one other one. And his response to that was,
he just went right into it.
It was Brad Pitt, Robert Downey Jr., and Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise didn't hesitate for a second. He's like,
okay, Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, and who was your other? Robert Downey Jr.
Oh shit.
Marry, fuck, kill.
Wow.
It
just got weird.
I see. Well, you would want to marry, I think, Cruise, because he's got the most money. Marry for money, guys. You can learn to love it.
I'm not joining no cults for anyone. But I respect your choice, Jane.
Yeah, obviously you would fuck Brad Pitt. He's the best looking. And then you would have to kill RDJ by default.
he didn't even skip a beat.
Not a beat.
Not a beat.
So
he went right into it. I was like,
have him back.
God damn it, that was
really
great.
Fun.
That was a prime moment for me. I was like, I cannot believe I'm doing this right now.
Greatest moment of your life.
Unbelievable. I'm playing Marry, Fuck, Kill with freaking Casey from Chuck. It's just bananas.
Well, it's funny because that was actually my top moment on my list, was getting to interview Adam Baldwin, because like he's the biggest movie star we've had on the show. Like, this guy's filmography is crazy. He's a fantastic actor. Like, he's been like in Hollywood for like a long time. He was in like Independence Day. He was in Full Metal Jacket. He got to work with Stanley Kubrick
with Mel Gibson.
Yeah, like this guy is just a legendary actor.
You could tell that day you were a little.
I was a little starstruck.
You were a little starstruck. It was pretty funny.
And it was funny, like, negotiating with him to come on our piddly little podcast.
What's the pay?
And I was like, yeah, do you have like a webcam? He's like, no. I was like, oh, okay. Do you have like a microphone for your computer? He's like, I don't have a computer. So I'm like, well, I guess you can use your phone if you download this app. He's like, can I just call in? I'm like, yes.
We'll make it work. We'll make it work for sure. But yeah,
didn't he say that like only the girl on the podcast can use the word cunt or something?
Yes.
And I wasn't even here for that part.
Yeah.
Well, he was talking about Yvonne Strahovski, who he worked with on.
She's Australian, and they worked together on Chuck, and she would drop cunt on set all the time.
Like he was nothing.
Yeah, and he's like, the only women can say that word. It was a really cool interview.
Yeah. But that was like definitely the highlight of the year on the podcast for me, was getting to interview Adam Baldwin, because I mean, not only was it a great interview, and not only is he like a super fun guy to talk to, but I mean, like, he's legendary and just huge to have him on our show.
Yeah. And I don't think we should feel bad about him calling us via phone, because I've watched a bunch of other interviews and he's always on the phone. Yeah. I think he gives every podcast that asks him to come on, I think he gives him the same answer. Can I just call you? Yeah. And it's like, yeah, sure.
I bet if we sent him plane tickets, he'd be like, all right, fine.
Well, what was funny is like, so he had my number, and I had to go to the bathroom right before he was set to call in.
Oh my God.
And so I just turned to Alex and I was like, Alex, if he calls, just like answer the phone. And Alex freaked the fuck out.
I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not the producer.
and so like, as I was coming back from the bathroom, he started calling, and Alex was like, what do I do? What do I do?
It's an Android phone. Fuck. Which button do I push?
Yeah, he kept on sitting here trying to refresh it so it wouldn't like go black.
Oh yeah, because it's like a fingerprint thing. I'm like, if it locks, I won't be able to touch it.
Yeah, it was funny.
I was freaking out. We were all kind of freaking out during that moment, but it turned out really well. And that's one of my top moments for the year, definitely, is playing a goofy, ridiculous, raunchy game over the phone with Adam Baldwin.
Yeah.
All right, V, what's your number one spot?
Number one, my number one spot is I feel kind of bad because it only involves two of us sitting here at the table.
Oh.
And it's kind of weird, but I have really enjoyed doing the Salty Saturday morning shows. That just kind of started as a thing where I wanted to play video games for a while. Then Kadish comes in, no, we need to like do this thing. And I wanted to thank Matt because, he puts that producer hat on every day of the week, even when he's not doing this. And he makes sure that we have good guests and we have good topics and stuff on that show. He says it's my show, but he makes it happen. I come up with a couple topics a week, then he just kind of fills in the blanks. And it's been really cool using that show to exacerbate or grow our relationships with these other guys out there in the podcast sphere, in the YouTube sphere that we live in. Brian from the Popcast is on there with us every week. He's he's a partner of ours. Mm-hmm. He's our merch guy, and having him come on with us, making him basically an unofficial salty nerd like Hewlett is, it's a special thing to me. And growing these relationships with these other people in our world is important. And I think it's important that we have friends out there, but we've had people from like Chrissy Meyer came on the show. Who else have we had on there? Mr. Reagan,
Tom from Midnight's Edge,
Yeah.
Cameron Pasha, Odin.
Culture Casino is with us a lot. It's just been fun. It's been fun growing that show. And I want you guys to come on it too, whenever you can. I know you guys are always busy and you're at work, but it's just one of those things I've enjoyed doing. And it helps me get out of my shell.
It's definitely out of my comfort zone
Because it's not when Kadish sits there and asks you a question that you don't have an answer for, and you got to try to talk for 30 seconds just to kill some airtime. It's not easy. I hate it when you ask me those stupid questions, Matt. That kind of stuff. And and it's just been fun. It's been fun watching that thing grow, and it'll be, as it keeps going, it's going to be even more fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing who we can get on this thing. Cool. So, yeah, it's going to be fun.
Right on. Jude, number one spot.
My number one, I'm going to have Vader say.
Portugal.
Can you explain for people who might not know? Please explain.
Was it Jean-Claude Van Damme week?
Yeah, it was.
And we were talking about Portugal, and Vader cannot say that word. And he also can't say Portuguese.
No. The T messes with me. I can't.
With those ears, now you're snorting? Come on, Jude.
It's unintentional.
Get some Portuguese sausage. Yeah.
So that episode where Vader couldn't pronounce Portugal is my mom's favorite episode. It's one of the reasons why she's a MattVader super fan now. She laughed so hard. She's like, he can't say Portugal.
It's not an easy word. I can barely say it when you have me spell it out phonetically.
Portugal.
Yeah, no, not going to do it.
All right. Not going to do it.
Do it.
Not going to do it. Portugal. Yeah.
I have it on my iPad.
Yeah.
You do.
And he's still
Portugal. Yeah.
Port.
Jude.
Portugal.
I can say port.
Yeah,
But
Portugal.
I can't say Portugal. But you put it together, it doesn't work.
We did have a good laugh with that one. That's funny. Right on. All right, Kadish, number one moment.
All right. So there are a lot of highlights to the year where I got to kind of reach out and talk to people that I really respect. Kevin J. Anderson, the author of, some classic Star Wars expanded universe novels. He was able to come on my live stream, get to talk to Lynn Kabaczynski, who is the director of Pact of Vengeance and a bunch of other movies. And I got to know him really well, and he's really cool. So all these little things about interviewing people, Joe Flanigan, I exchanged emails giving him podcasting advice because he wants to start his own podcast. We got to pitch Viking Cop to John Ivor Helgecker. It's a very strange kind of feeling interviewing all these people and kind of having in jokes with them and having actual human conversations that have nothing to do with being fans or anything like that with them. But I think that, we've covered a lot of stuff here that has been a highlight for me. Everything that you guys said has been definitely one of the best moments of the year. I would say that one thing that we kind of skipped over is that, a while ago, a friend of the show, Danny the Dork Knight, he was having a charity event at the Millennium Fandom Bar, which is like the local nerd bar out here in Las Vegas. And he asked if we would, basically set up like a remote interview place where like we could talk to the people involved with the charity and give them a chance to kind of like share their thoughts and stuff like that. And we'd never done like an on-site like show before. Mm-hmm. And so I had to cobble together with more dental floss and bubble gum, a three camera audio setup in one of the loudest bars I think I've ever been in. Oh, man. And then convince Alex to come there right after work so he could sit there and interview these people.
Yeah.
And it was like a good test that basically led me to believe it's like, you know what, we could do stuff outside of the studio. Mm-hmm. And it was actually at that event that we met someone who was friends with Danny, who really thought that our, kind of setup was impressive. And through him, he brought us this idea. And this idea was that, hey, why don't you start your own podcasting studio? And we were like, oh, that's kind of interesting because we'd been working on doing the podcast as a business for a while. But with this idea, we could have an actual business that we could build the podcast on top of. Mm-hmm. And through this friend of Danny's that we met through, this charity event, we'd been working with them to get funding to start a podcasting and YouTube studio business here in Las Vegas. And it's been a labor of love. We've had a lot of fights, a lot of disagreements, and a lot of come to Jesus moments. But through that event, it set the wheels in motion to kind of bring us to the next phase of the Salty Nerd podcast. And I want to throw it to Alex to kind of explain what we're going to be doing.
So, like Katie said, having our own space that is outside his house is a big deal for us. And because
an actual studio.
Yeah, our friend Clint came to us with this idea, and we kind of over the past year have kind of grown and figured out exactly what the logistics of that would be. We now are going to be stepping into an actual studio space, and it's going to be a full-on business. We will be there running it ourselves. Kadish will start off, and then as we grow, Vader and I and Jude will hop in as well. I'll be helping out on my days off and part-time to get it going, but I'm extremely excited to be able to do this and to be able to take this into the next realm of possibilities, because our podcast, our Salty Nerd podcast, will be produced at this studio, and we'll still be doing our content as normal. But on top of that, we're going to be able to help other people who might have an idea, but they don't have the setup, or they don't have the expertise, so they don't have the investment to be able to do it themselves. They can come to us and we will help them produce. We'll help them get their RSS feed set up. All the stuff that we kind of had to stumble through and figure out ourselves, we can now pass that knowledge along to other people and help them produce high quality professional podcasts. And I'm extremely excited. There's so many opportunities out there. And also things that Vader's been talking about, like we should be the hub for Las Vegas for people who come here. Friends like Gary from Nerdrotic or guys from Geeks and Gamers or Drunk 3PO, Jay over there. If they come to Vegas, which they do regularly, and they need a place to create content for their audience, they will have a place to do it that's completely professional, ready to roll. They walk in the door and they're good to go. So I'm excited to bring that to them, as well as everybody in Vegas who might have an idea for a podcast but doesn't quite know how to make that step.
Yeah, this whole
huge.
The podcast world is still in its infancy, as far as I'm concerned, and having a real professional place that kind of caters to those of us who do this out of our bedrooms, computers, is going to be super cool. It's going to be super fun. And I cannot wait to dive into this thing. My wife was it's like, oh, so I'm going to see it even less now. And I'm like, yeah.
I had to have that same conversation with my wife because I'm like,
we still have to work our regular jobs in the meantime for a little while. But we need to say it's going to blow up. It's a really cool industry that we're diving into, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I can't wait to see what we come up with. So.
Yeah. And we've been quietly kind of location scouting for like about 6 months, and we finally found the perfect location, and we're closing on the property. And like all year I'd been working on this business plan for the show. And when we pivoted to the studio, like I had to change the business plan, and then we had to go after funding, and we finally got enough funding to basically launch the business, launch the studio. And we're really looking forward to, being the place where content creators come in town to create not only like audio podcasts, but like video podcasts for YouTube, live streaming content. We're going to be investing a lot in professional equipment, professional setup. So like
we'll be able to do everything.
Yeah, they'll be able to come to the studio, have like all the lighting set up, have like the camera switches like you see us doing. We'll offer like editing services, like all the stuff that creators hate to do, like we'll be doing for them. And it's been very stressful and very nerve-wracking. Like I really hope that we don't fall flat on our face.
Fights now.
Oh man. Yeah. Wait until we're like neck deep in this. We're like, no, you don't do it. Like, yeah, we work really well together. Surprisingly, for some reason, we all have different tastes in movies, but when it comes down to shit, like we always work through any kind of disagreement. But I'm super excited. And one of the things that really opens this up, because everybody had some moment where we got to talk to somebody in the industry as one of our top moments for the SNP. And for us to have an actual professional location to be able to invite people to. And Vegas is such a pit stop for people in LA and all over the place. I am
so many conventions.
I am so excited to be able to actually officially invite somebody that we really admire or really like what they're doing, or a new project that they're working on, whether it's Jonathan Tropper or, Sylvia Hooks or something like that, or anybody from C, basically. Yeah. All you awesome people from C.
We're coming for you.
Yeah, to be able to be like, hey, why don't you come down to our studio? We'll have a hangout. We'll have a couple drinks. We'll record a podcast, do an interview, talk about your next project, whatever. Like to actually have.
We need to get new business cards.
Yes, to have an actual place for them to come and hang out with us is a game changer for us as a podcast, but also for people just like us who want to do the same thing. So I'm super excited to be able to bring this to the table.
I just can't wait. I cannot wait till we get this all off the ground.
Yeah.
It's like, are we going to recreate the basement in there, or how are we doing this? It's going to be completely different.
This is the super secret project.
Yeah,
We're finally revealing.
We've been dropping hints and whispering about it. So this is the big thing.
But we kind of took a look at the other studios in town, because like whenever Nerdrotic comes into town, Gary, like they'll book these places, like they'll either do it out of their hotel room, which they have to lug all their equipment to, or they'll go to another place which might look good on camera, but maybe they don't have the best internet or the best sound. Like they'll like throw up like a couple of like
blankets or something,
or like sound deadening things on the walls. We're actually going to invest the money to soundproof each studio, make sure that like noise from the outside isn't coming in, then sound treat it professionally, and make sure that we have like 4K cameras and professional lighting set up. We're going to have a studio where we're going to be able to host like 6 to 8 people for like the big live stream shows and stuff like that. And we're going to have like top tier internet and all the stuff that YouTubers want and need when they come into town. And that way they don't have to spend all that money lugging their equipment in and doing it. Like they can just come to the studio and do everything from there.
Great location.
It's perfect.
Like right by the freeway, but quiet, crazily.
Yeah. Even before, like we walked in, we did a tour of it. We were walking around to kind of scope out the area. And one of the big concerns, of course, is sound and noise, because we deal with it here because we're in Casey's living room. There's a road right there. We deal with gardeners, we deal with road noise, we deal with motorcycles.
I am the biggest doom and gloomer when it comes to sound, because I deal with that every day in my jobby job. Like if it's too loud, I can't work. And so like I went into it like, this isn't gonna work. Fuck this place. This place. Well.
We walk into this location. It's
actually really quiet.
And it's like super quiet. And we're like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah.
So it's
crazy.
And just for me, for like a personal growth aspect, I've really been, I've hit like that midlife crisis moment where I'm like, I don't give a shit about my current job.
Dude, I've been there 10 years.
I'm like, I'm not trying to move up any ladder. I'm not trying to get a raise or a promotion or anything like that. I'm just literally just stagnant. And I'm like, I'm looking for the next thing in my life to kind of hop onto. And this presented itself, and we kind of like brainstormed the idea, and we all kind of agreed that this would be the best thing. And I'm like, I cannot wait to jump in, because as a personal growth thing for me, this is my retirement plan. This is my bread and butter. I cannot wait to provide this service for other people who are just like me, who just want to start a podcast, get our voice out there, but don't know how to do it. And I'm like, well, here's a chance. Let's go.
And it's crazy also, like, just to think about like when we first started doing this, and to see like how much we've grown since then, and to see someone else's journey and to be a part of that. I think it's going to be really, really special.
Yeah. We've come a long way from 3 nerds talking at the coffee shop, boys.
Indeed.
And lady. So it's wild.
Super excited.
So in the coming year, the first quarter of 2023, we're going to be spending a lot of time getting the studio ready, buying the equipment, getting everything kind of like in order to open up as like an actual like functioning business. So we're going to be cutting back a little bit on the Salty Nerd podcast content creation. We're still going to be doing at least like 2 shows a week, but 1 Patreon show, 1 public show. But in the interim time, while we're getting the studio ready, we can't do our regular content creation. But we'll still be doing like Salty Saturdays and stuff like that. And we'll also be posting a lot of videos of the studio space and like how we're transforming it and what we're doing with it. So it's all going to be very exciting. And hopefully by the time, March rolls around, we'll be open and accepting new clients. And we're really hoping that you guys out there who love our show and want to help support us will help spread the word and come out and see us, take a tour of the studio, and encourage other YouTubers and podcasters to come check us out, because we would really love to do this full time and quit all of our jobs and just focus on doing content creation and studio stuff.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And definitely if there's people out there who are a fan of our podcast, once we get everything set up and ready to go, we would love to see you out here in Vegas. There's tons of conventions, tons of reasons to come out here. I know content creators come out here all the time for that kind of stuff. So I hope that we are a regular pit stop for everybody who comes to Vegas, who wants to create something. If they have a video that they want to make, we'll have places where you can do editing and all kinds of really cool stuff, and make some awesome content that your audience loves. So we are the place to be, guys. I cannot wait. I'm so excited for this. It's going to be great. So thank you all for your support. We really appreciate it. As a podcast, as a Salty Nerd podcast, those of you who are in our club members area, you helped create this. You helped us to take the next step, because we felt like we had an audience. We have people who love our stuff, and we want to grow and continue to grow. And this is one of those steps. So thank you. This is amazing. Final thoughts or any other honorable mentions?
I got nothing. I can't top that. There's nothing topping that.
There's nothing topping that.
No. So it's like, hey man, we're going to do this for a living soon.
Yeah.
Whether we want to or not. And I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. And it's been a journey. It just is what it is, man. I cannot wait.
Cool.
So lots of changes coming in 2023 on every level for me. So it's going to be awesome. Are we final thought? Are we doing where we can find
just
me?
Just retrospective. Yeah, you can do that too.
Mean, everybody knows where they can find me. MattVader 74. So come find me, guys. I'm out there.
All right. Jude, final thoughts, honorable mentions for best moments?
Several, yeah.
Okay.
So my final thought on the topic that we were just speaking is, like, I've loved being on this journey with you guys, and I can't think of a better group of people that I would take this leap with, and I'm really excited for it, and I hope I didn't just jinx us.
In 3 months, we're all going to hate each other.
Yeah. I have 2 honorable mentions. I loved what we did with Patreon this year. How we changed it up and we made it about like classic sci-fi, and we kind of came out with a new format for it. And it's been really cool, like just getting to see like stuff that we haven't watched for a while, but also stuff that we've never watched before has been really, really neat. And I wouldn't have had the opportunity to watch that without doing this. So it's been really cool, like the way that we reformatted that. I've really enjoyed it. And the other thing that we did this year that we've kind of like refined is Skits and Bits.
Oh, yeah.
Has been really fun.
I feel like we're still refining that.
It's an ever-changing content, Skits and Bits. Those are always fun. The dad joke chicken, the name the fake movie.
I do enjoy reading a good nasty comment.
Oh yeah, we did that too.
That is pretty fun. We'll do more of those.
It's Beam.
I think our bad Amazon reviews was probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, that was fun too. Yeah, good stuff. All right, Kate, just final thoughts and any honorable mentions.
Final thoughts. So 2023, looking down the barrel of that year, there's going to be a lot of work. There's going to be a lot of stress. Very little pay.
No pay.
Yeah.
0.
But I'm very confident in our team here. I'm looking forward to taking this journey with you. I really hope that we succeed at this, because if we were to fail, that would really suck. But I don't think that we will. But we're going to need a lot of support. So for all of you out there who enjoy our show and are watching us, please feel free to follow us on Twitter. Spread the word about it, watch our videos when, we're showing you like the studio. And if you're a content creator, hit me up. Feel free to come out and use our facilities. We're going to have all types of stuff that you could ever possibly want as a content creator out here in Las Vegas. So just help us out, help support us.
And where should they hit you up at?
Oh, at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter and Truth Social. And kadishbooks.com will take you to my Amazon page. And we're also going to have a website for the actual studio itself. So once we get that set up, you can go to the website. You can actually book time on there and like all that stuff and contact us directly. And we will take care of you.
Thank you all for your support as a podcast. We really appreciate it. And have a great year going into 2023. Like I said, we're going to slow down a little bit on our content, but that's only because we're going to be working on a huge thing that we just talked about. So thank you. I can't say thank you enough. You guys have been great. The audience is awesome. Our club members are amazing. And I cannot wait to go on this journey in 2023. So stay tuned and watch us succeed. All right, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Comment below what you think about everything that we just said. And what are your top moments for our podcast? If you're a longtime listener, we're very curious to hear it. Stay salty, my friends. See you next year.